We have a 2.5-hour flight from northern Namibia to Kulala Airstrip near the southern part of the Namib National Park. Our flight path takes us along the border of the park. It covers 19,216 square miles. That's about the same size as the country of Costa Rica. It's the largest game park in Africa and the fourth largest in the world. To the east are the Nakloof Mountains, formed 500 to 700 million years ago. To the west is the Namib Desert, which stretches 1,200 miles along the Atlantic coasts of Angola, Namibia, and South Africa. It's considered to be the oldest desert in the world. It's been arid for 55 to 80 million years. Out of this untouched landscape, the town of Arendis appears. The town serves Rossing Mine, the largest open-pit uranium mine in the world, producing 8% of the global output. Near the mine is a pool of mine wastes. Namibia is the world's fourth largest exporter of uranium, but there is a long-term environmental cost. The contrast between the red dunes of the desert and the gray rock of the mountains is striking. Millions of years of winds have formed complex patterns in the sand dunes. We arrive at Kulala Airstrip, where our guides are waiting to take us to Kulala Desert Lodge. This lodge is the closest one to Sossusvlei, our primary objective here. We find our thatch and canvas tents. We settle into our comfortable accommodations and then step out on our deck to admire the spectacular landscape. We have to go exploring. There's not much time before sun sets, so we scout the area for a good sunset picture. The wildlife is sparse in this unforgiving landscape. It's hard to tell how old these camel thorn trees are. The dry climate doesn't allow the usual decay processes. The sunset's almost here. Only a few wispy clouds give character to the sunset, but we've chosen our spot well for interesting silhouettes. In the middle of the Namib National Park is a finger of white extending into the red dunes. This leads to Sossusvlei. Another picture of Sossusvlei from space. It's a salt and clay pan surrounded by high red dunes. Like the Namib Valley, this valley was formed by a seasonal river, the Sauchob River. From these pictures from space, we can't appreciate the size of these dunes. They're among the highest and the oldest dunes in the world, with many over 200 meters tall. The redder the dune, the older it is. The red comes from iron oxide in the sand. We leave our 4x4 vehicle behind and walk the last 2 kilometers. This is Sossusvlei, which translates to dead-end marsh. Hundreds and thousands of years ago, this is where the Sauchob River met the dunes and could go no further. This land can only support a few very hardy desert-adapted animals. And this is Deadvlei, the dead marsh at the very end of the pan. It's one of the most photographed places in Africa. Hundreds of years ago, the pan would occasionally fill with water, and the camel thorn grew here. Then the climate changed. Dunes separated Deadvlei from Sossusvlei, cutting off any water, and the trees died. These trees are believed to have died 600 to 700 years ago. They've been scorched black by the sun. Deadvlei is surrounded by high dunes, including Big Daddy at 350 meters and Big Mama at slightly less. The pans are covered in a salt crust, forming contrasting patterns with the iron-rich sand. While you may not see any animals in the heat of the day, the sand is covered with big and small tracks. And we're always looking for birds. On On the way back to the lodge, we spot two gemsbok sparring. Gemsbok are uniquely adapted to this harsh land. When grass is sparse, they'll dig for roots and tubers. The second most popular attraction in the area is Sesrum Canyon. It's a natural canyon carved by the Tsao River into sedimentary rock between 2 and 4 million years ago. It's only 3 kilometers long and up to 100 feet deep. The name comes from the time when Afrikaans settlers used 6 reins from their ox-driven wagons to reach water at the bottom of the canyon, so it became 6 Reins Canyon. About 15 to 18 million years ago, when this area was much wetter, layers of sand and gravel were deposited across a wide riverbed. Some of the layers contain heavy rocks indicating fast-flowing water. Other layers are gravel indicating a medium flow, and some are fine sand laid down by a slow-flowing river. Back above ground, we find a few more of the local inhabitants. We're up early on our last day in Namibia. We want to catch the morning's first light on the dunes. And we're not disappointed. We're rewarded with a great light show. We beat the crowds and pick a dune that we have all to ourselves. We capture the dune's line between light and shadow. The texture of undulating ripples make interesting compositions. We watch the dune change color as the sun rises. After breakfast, we're back at Guluk Airstrip, where we say goodbye to our Kulala guides. Our flight takes us back to Windhoek, where we change planes and fly on to Cape Town. Namib means vast space in the Nama language, so Namibia is the land of vast space, which is definitely true.